Hey guys, I won't be showing a demo this week. I've been working on some other stuff, so I figured why not just do a quick video on how I made Cogs. So as you can see, I have a huge mess of a project. I usually don't organize too well, so we'll just be going through these one by one. I believe I started with this pad here, started with some chords. I usually feed it through these side chains. I usually just make some automation and then I can copy paste it towards anything. If you have the time and effort, I just recommend automating it if you don't have an external program. So this part's just the bridge. Same timbre, but it's got an arpeggio instead. Here we have a random riser. Oh, this is a random color patch. I think I put a bunch of crap on it just to make it sound all shimmery. Here's my lead acid patch for the end. I have it automated to go through a vocoder. It's also going through sidechain though, so you can't really hear it too well, but it just adds a little bit more harmonic effect. Here's some more acid at the end. Here's another acid lead. Let's see what this is. Oh, that's pretty cool. Here we have some ARP. Here we got bass in our sub. Very subtle and you can't hear it that much in the mix, but it adds some nice texture for that low end. It literally is just a saw with multi-band and soft clip. It doesn't really matter that my saw is cut out because I filled it up with the sub. I did feed it through trash to have, I don't know, some preset on it. I think, let's see. Yeah, otherwise it sounds very flat, so this adds some dimension to it. Here's the sub, basic patch. Can't hear it too well because it's going very low. But what I usually do for most of my subs, maybe not this one this time because I'm adding other shit to it, but I usually add another layer of sine. I'll pitch it up 19 semitones because what that does, and I'm sure you can see it here, turn that level down. Maybe saturate it a bit more. Where's it at? A little bit of saturation. I learned this lesson from a Mr. Bill video, which he does sort of the same effect. You're pushing your sound so it gets closer to a square. When it goes through your subs, it's pushing out your sound more. Here's what that looks like without all those effects on it. Here's what that looks like after. And it's not adding as much distortion as a square wave. Otherwise, you'd have all this high end. And sometimes with a square wave, you'll have harmonics that'll go up into your 100ths. This is a very clean sine, so the most you'll get is overtones that will sound fine in the mix anyways. Obviously didn't do that for this project because I have this going on and it's already creating all these overtones. I didn't want stuff to overlap. Here's the noise that plays for every little drop I have, peak moments of this song. The key to getting this noise, usually I put an erosion down, high pass it, and also you need your sine to be an octave lower so that the wave's hidden low enough to where the noise erosion is hitting at a frequency that, you know, sounds nice and crunchy. Otherwise, if it was pitched up, then it'd sound like this. Which sounds fine, but I like it more lower crunchy. All that crunch, give me all that crunch. Here we got some acid, and I think I'll play all these effects at once because, you know, you see 2 or 3 going on. So here's the dry effect, and here it is with some convolution. These other 2 ones, sub and noise. Also, here's this noise effect going through. Jumping later into the song, here's something. Here's an acid riser. I thought it sounded like a the Xbox intro. A little bit. So there's 3 times these chords play in this track during its peak moments. They're going through 3 different timbres, so they're contextually different. It's just a random vital patch, 2 squares, chorus, compressor. Just an arpeggio, square wave. Let's see. OTT, some vocoder over it, layered into 3 layers. Here's the last one. I think this one's my favorite. I think it's my favorite part of the whole song. And I'll just play this part all together. Just a super saw patch. 1 going up, 7 semitones. OTT. Here's the drum itself. Usually with all my drum buses, I feed it through multiband dynamics. I have a little bus made for it. Sometimes it's subtle, and other times I want to push the sound so it sounds like a whole kit. Throughout the whole song, there's some noise going on. It keeps this subtle drunken swing to it. So usually I make my own kicks and snares. This one's very thumpy, and usually I just have some general types. One that's thumpy, one that's clicky, and they're all around G. Sometimes they're an A if I want to go up that high. Sometimes they're as low as C if I really want to make some low bass thump. But usually I just want a click or a very small transient thump. Here's some random percussion. And this lo-fi snare. See, with the snare trick, I don't know where I got this one specifically, but it's in some trash kit. And you can see I didn't do much besides put some stereo width on it. Here's a bit more percussion. Here's the big snare that plays. I think this is from my own kit. Yeah. The wall. Here's some riser. Last bit of drum. So for the beginning, I took the drums, bounced it down, recorded the normal drum bus I had, and fed it through vocoders, some compression, some erosion, some width, so I have a convolution here. And I think I had beat repeat because I was just testing some things, but yeah. If you don't want to make new drums for a sequence, try recording your drop drums and going with that, seeing what you can do with it. Going back to the very beginning, I had some vox here, some vocals. I think they're just random ones I took from some trap packs. So here's what they sound like normally. So let's go one by one. Throw some OTT on it. Brings it all together. Some bit speak. Makes it sound all weird. I love big speak. Put this on loop so it stays. Some auto-tune. Let's wait for it to start over again. Let's put some vocoder on it. I don't know why it's not being fed through now. Oh, I think the EQ was doing it. Oh, I see. So I had some EQ at 12 decibels, push the sound out, and I had a gate on it, so now it's reading through. And some convolution to throw it all together. Sounds more interesting in the track itself than it does alone. So for this beginning pad, I took the track itself. So yeah, that's the track without the drums that I bounced down. I did a little bit of comping. I think I just extracted each chord from it, pitched it an octave up, then just fed it through a convolution and then shaped it. Here's a motif that appears later, but a subtle introduction to it. Here's some sub that I wanted at the beginning because I wanted a little bit of warmth. It actually sounds decent through subs. Here's some brass risers that are just on the 1. I think this is my least favorite part of the song. I just didn't know how to make a decent transition that sounded coherent and also not cheesy, but this is pretty cheesy, honestly. Here's some noise to go along with it. Here's a bit of bass. Same effect with the erosion. I think this one's a little different because I wave shaped it and compressed it, so it sounds a little bit more crunchy. Here's some vocals I fed through a vocoder. Nothing else apparently. That's a nice little progression in and of itself. A little bass pluck. Sounds a lot different in context. Bass plucks are very cool. What I could have done different here, a little more space for this noise to happen so that the transient pops through more. Which is very subtle, but and in context of the track, it sounds like this. So for this bass pluck, there's 2 things happening. There's this vital patch. I believe it's just saws. Yeah, it's just 2 saw patches, distortion, multiband. It's only 2 notes happening. So I think without this wave shaper, the bass sounds very funky, but it's kind of an acid-ish noise. And you put them together and you wave shape those together and it creates a whole new context to the chord because it's smushing everything at once. Some erosion, some multiband. Here's a harmonic noise that goes through some ping pong delay. Through harmonic series and all that junky jazz. Here's a little bit that plays all together. To end it, the song does pretty much the same thing. And then at the very end, here's some random synth that plays some dreamy chords. And to end this, here's some pads from Rave Generator. I love rave pads. So you can see it's not just the rave pad, it's going through some vocoder shit and a convolution in the multiband, but real quick, without these, it just sounds like this. It sounds cool on its own, but I kind of wanted it to fade in more from soft to harder hitting stabs, so that's why it's going through some vocoder stuff. You can see the release time, the dry wet, and the formants going down, so it kind of goes down in pitch a little bit. Oh, and this as well. That's neat, and that also plays at the end. This. Even I forget that's in there. Hey, so I forgot to talk about this. Here is the little overtone sound you hear in the song. Here's a little vital patch that I had. It's just 2 harmonic series with some random envelope on it. So already it sounds just kind of chaotic. So I took it and I comped it and I put some effects on it, some vocoder obviously, some chorus, frequency shifter so that it drops down, and I just think that contextually it makes chords more interesting when it's playing in the background. So I think I covered most stuff in here. To move on to mastering, I have to go into a separate project because my mastering tools are 32-bit, not 64-bit. This is the 64-bit program, so let's move on to the 32-bit. Alright, so here's my mastering project. So you can see here I tried a whole bunch of crap that just didn't work. Multibands and all this. All I needed was some EQ, some limiting, and that's fucking it. If your mix is alright enough, it'll survive through limiting and mastering. Obviously, there's exceptions to that, but I'm sure there's some things I avoided doing here. Here's what the mastering frequencies look like. So you can see, there's a little bit of shit happening between 400 and 800, which is fine. Not every track is gonna look as even as, can be. Otherwise, this looks about fine. And if you want to look real quick, here this is through mid side. So you can tell in some parts that some sides going through a lot. I could have fixed that. It's just a lesson for another time. It still sounds relatively fine, so... Alright, so there's my track Cogs. I hope you liked this video. I hope I kept it relatively short, otherwise this will never come out, because I just wanted to make a little video. I think it took me an hour to record this. Real quick end note before I end this video, I actually made that artwork myself. I took it from the inside of my trunk. I've been finding speakers from Goodwill and stuff, but this one actually happened to be speakers that I use just for playing games and stuff. I went and bought Cogs off of Jeff Bezos' site. Just little decoration things, and I took a photo. I just set it up, chose a time of day, and took some neat photos of it, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. So if you want to listen to the track, it's right here, and I'll probably put it on streaming services soon, so look out for that, and I hope you enjoy.